Please stand by.
Excuse me, I'm talking.
It's coming. It's coming. It's coming. It's coming.
Warning. What is your name?
I am Jay Ramone, and this is the Jay Ramone Podcast.
If the FCC knew you were doing drugs on the air, shut us down!
This gets more work done more accurately.
I will sit down with bands, artists, chefs, business owners, and fellow Oklahomans to talk about their projects and dealing with day-to-day life.
This stuff can give you brain damage.
This is the Jay Ramone Podcast.
Power of the internet is truly amazing.
This is the Jay Ramone Podcast, and we are in my office, and I'm sitting here with Mothica, formerly an Oklahoma City native.
Yes, born and raised Oklahoma City. I'm Mothica.
And now you're in California.
Yes, Los Angeles.
The weather's a little bit different.
It is. There's really like no weather. Well, now there is, but I had to bust out a winter coat for my mom to visit.
I asked you when you walked in what day you came back to Oklahoma, because the weather has drastically changed in a brief amount of time.
Well, I know growing up here, it was like the most unpredictable weather. So last week it was 80 degrees. And now it's snowing and icy. And actually my dad like fell in slow motion on the ice and we thought he was breakdancing, but
I nearly did that today in the grocery store parking lot. And I'm not as limber as I once was in my youth. I know I'm going to feel it tomorrow.
Yeah.
So you put out the record last year, did some touring, all of that stuff. Now the cycle's kind of over. And so now it's time to be creative again and make more new music. So what do you have in store for us?
Well, I don't know how much you know about this Kissing Death album I just did and all the stuff that went into that, but I kind of learned that like I made this record kind of about like how my whole life I romanticized dying young and like dealing with depression and these suicidal thoughts. And I honestly think making an album about that was kind of like bad luck, because then my mental health just like plummeted. And it was when I first started making it, I was in a really good place. And then throughout the record, it's like, I don't know, I manifested that. So I ended up, doing a short headline tour in Europe. But at the same time, I had been trying to get off, like I got addicted to anxiety medication, which I got for airplanes, for touring. It's like the cycle was crazy.
I feel your pain. And like when you're in that moment and you're trapped and that's the only thing that can help you get out of it, it's real easy to fall back into those old patterns.
Yeah.
We don't shy away from talking about addictions.
Okay,
so
cool.
so don't be scared.
Yeah. I mean, I quit drinking like coming up on 6 years ago. And so it was always like, that was there's so many downsides to drinking of just like embarrassing myself and like, being hospitalized, all this stuff. But then it came to like psych meds. There was like real benefits. So it was even like a more slippery slope because I really thought, I was self-medicating. But then it became more and more. It's like something I just got for airplanes turned into, okay, I need to take this every day. And now I'm
the human brain is crazy.
Yeah.
Like it's wild the things that you can gravitate towards or just become hooked on instantly.
Yes.
Like I grew up a kid in the 80s and I am very much a product of the 80s. And I remember being no big deal for every single meal for me to drink a Mountain Dew and continue to drink that all day long. And I look back at it now and I'm like, not only was I putting all of that sugar into my body, I was wrecking my kidneys and everything else. That was just the norm. No big deal, not an issue. But your brain becomes dependent on all of that caffeine and all of that sugar, just like anything else.
Yeah, and being like struggling with alcoholism and like just having an addictive personality. Like for me, it was like I even got addicted to Candy Crush. Like on my phone, I played like 7,000 levels. I was like, this isn't normal. So don't even put anything in front of me. Now it's probably like Diet Coke or energy drinks or whatever. But so when I was on this European tour, my first headline, the shows were, I sold out like places I've never even been, like Glasgow, Scotland. Apparently I'm Scottish, by the way. So super cool. Sold out.
That is pretty sweet.
But the shows were so fun, but like behind the scenes, I was like crying. I was like really suffering because I had been trying to like not take this medication anymore. And it's really dangerous. So instead of doing my US tour, I ended up going to a 30-day rehab. And when I was in rehab, that's when like all my stuff about my music kind of came to light. Like I didn't listen to a single song while I was there. No music. And
How did you do that for 30 days? No music whatsoever.
I mean, the only time I heard music was like they had one little group where you would play songs that like meant a lot to you. So people would like select a song that like, you know, helped them, inspire them. But I don't know. I just was like, I think I just was like over it because I released 3 albums in like 3 years basically. So it was like, I just need to not listen to music. I don't know what I'm going to do with my life. I just need to know that if I keep going on this path, I won't be able to tour anymore, you know? So, yeah, the first song I listened to when I got out, it was like around the holidays. It was like Ella Fitzgerald. It's like real, you know, just like, it's like this, okay, I can do this.
Something soothing.
Yes. And I got this idea kind of like, you know, I want to make a rock record. And I was thinking about when I play live, what's the most fun I have is like my songs that are rock. And
that's the crazy thing about your music is you can bounce from all these different genres seamlessly and it all fits and it all works on the same record. It's not like you made a record that sounded like this or then you made a record that sound. No, this is all on the same record, but it all is kind of cohesive together in the same kind of vibe.
I feel the opposite where it's like, you know, it's like I jump from, you know, genre to genre to genre, but like it all makes sense when I'm making it in the moment of like where the inspiration's taking me. Like with Kissing Death, I wanted it to feel like a soundtrack to a, you know, a visual album. So I'm like, okay, here's my synth dancey song and here's my like Western song when, you know, it's like,
right.
But how do I still make it the Mothica world? But I just thought like I want to really commit to making something like heavier and more rock, especially like all the anger and emotions I felt built up from this album and, you know, addiction grabbing its hold on me yet again, you know, like all that. I was like, what if I really commit to that sound? And actually the whole record I just started writing was in the past like month or 2. So it like, and I'm like done with it basically. So it's like, it just came out when it needed to. Yeah.
I feel like that's how real art works. Like when you force it, it's going to come across as very fake and not something that's meaningful. But when it comes out, you just kind of got to let it go and go for it.
And right when I got out of this like treatment center, I jumped into like, I was like, I want to do as many sessions as possible. I want to make music again. And like, really, I wanted to get excited about music again. And I did a lot of like really terrible songwriting sessions where it's just like learning how to walk again or something, you know. It's just like I wanted to do something heavier, more rock, but it's like there's so many different like flavors of rock.
If you only knew how many musicians that I've been friends with over the years that have told me that exact same story about coming out of treatment and trying to find their way and kind of what they're doing. And that may be performing live, that may be writing songs. It's a whole new world when you do it sober. But I think once you find your way, you realize that you don't necessarily need all of that extra stuff to be creative. You realize you were just leaning into it as an excuse kind of.
Oh, totally. And I think like once you've done something for, you know, I was using these like prescription pills for like 3 years, basically since 2020. It's like when everything in my career at least took off to other people, even though I'd been doing it for longer, like, my confidence was so low. Like, even though I've done all of these things without any substances, my brain was telling me, you need this, you need this, you need this, you know? So that was the hardest thing, is just like believing in myself again that I can sing or write a song or, you know, tell a story, whatever.
Isn't that the story though that we've told ourselves our whole lives from childhood of, when you don't feel good enough, you that's the same thing we've repeated in our minds over and over and over again.
Totally. And even just like subject matter of what I want to write about too was like, I don't know. It was just, I was so close to like, I just got out of a treatment center. How am I going to make songs about this exact thing I just went through? You almost like need more time to like process it. So yeah,
and put yourself back through those same emotions again immediately.
Yeah.
That's brutal.
Yeah. But crazy enough, when I went to this treatment center, everyone there in Los Angeles was from Oklahoma.
For real?
Yes.
What does that say about us Oklahomans?
I don't know. I think there's something with the insurance or something, but it was like, I met some people that were like, yeah, I'm from Shawnee, Oklahoma. It's just like,
that
it's like
checks out.
Yeah. Everyone was from Hawaii and Oklahoma.
Wow.
Yeah. I don't know.
Have you ever visited Hawaii?
When I was a child.
Like, Hawaii is one of those places where when you get out of the touristy area, it's a crazy place. Like, it really is its own little world. There's still camps that are neighborhoods, but it's tent cities basically, like you see in Los Angeles now. They've had those in Hawaii for decades.
Oh yeah. Yeah, the native population and everything. I mean, I'm not much of a like beach person. Like, I will wear SPF like 100, so tropical vacations and all that has never appealed to me, but yeah, I'm sure it's gorgeous.
So you said you jumped back into writing sessions. When you do this, are you writing with other people, or are you just fully immersing yourself to write something?
Oh yeah, I usually, go in with like a music producer and a songwriter. I like to have like 3 people in the room to bounce off of, and there's a lot of like blind date sessions where it's like you've never met these people, but you're expected to make the most amazing songs together.
Right.
And some of my like, best songs have come through that. But yeah, so I just went in and Trevor, who's here with me, he ended up co-writing the whole album with me and got me excited about music again. Mostly was produced by a producer actually from Oklahoma too, named Curtis Martin, born and raised here, and we knew each other on Facebook 12 years ago, and then bam,
in California.
Yes.
Joined together and made a record.
Yes,
that's the wildest connection of all time.
Yeah, he was like born and raised here, so kind of has a little Oklahoma record.
So living in LA, obviously with the fires and the devastation and the stuff that we watched on TV, you guys saw it firsthand being there. And I feel, as an Oklahoman, like I told you, I felt like we didn't really know what to do to help. Oh, yeah. Like when a tornado hits, we kind of know what to do to help out other communities. But being in California so far away, what are some things that Oklahomans can do to actually help?
Yeah. So the night before the fires and the Eaton fire, which was in Altadena, the night before I was recording a song and had dinner at a local restaurant that just opened. The next morning, that house and studio and restaurant was all gone.
Wow.
Yeah. So, it was very close to home, and the fire was about 2 miles from my house. And I woke up around 7 a.m. There's a black smoke in the sky. Like, it was really hard to breathe. And I had decided I was in an evacuation zone. So I got out and drove to Vegas for like a week. But there's a lot of foundations that were kind of overwhelmed by donations of like clothing and stuff like that.
Exactly. That's why I wanted to bring this up, is because we all think immediately, oh my gosh, they've lost everything. We're going to clean out our closets and send it all. But what people don't realize is when there's a natural disaster like that, when all of those donations get in, there's got to be a place for them to go, or you're creating more work for people who need less work.
Yeah. So there's GoFundMe org itself has a wildfire fund they're raising that actually kind of vets people who lost homes, and they're dispersing the money.
Okay.
So I can like give you that link. And
Please
then,
do, because I would love to share it.
Yeah, and then another one I've heard of is called Altadena Girls, which is like a young teenage girl that's been organizing this for like, teenage girls that need stuff and getting them makeup and like newer things. And, a lot of it was like trying to find like, not just your old clothes, but like, things you don't think of that someone needs. You're building up from scratch. And even seeing my friends go through that. And there's also another link that has all of the music industry people who are affected, because obviously Hollywood and, LA is all entertainment industry. So there's hundreds of people.
So many people lost historic instruments and pieces of gear and stuff. So many studios gone forever. And just amazing record after amazing record was made, and these studios are on this gear, and there's nothing you can do to bring that back. Like it's heartbreaking.
Yeah. Our friend whose house burned down completely, where I recorded the night before, was he's Australian, and he had instruments and stuff from his father all the way from Australia that had like been in this room, just bought new furniture, just furnished it, and like. You don't think about, like, even I had to look around my house and, I didn't know if I came back, if my house would still be there. And, I didn't know what to bring, because everything in my house is valuable to me or sentimental to me or from my mom or fan gifts or, whatever. And I ended up only taking, like, some clothes and my wigs.
It's crazy what we pick as what means something to us at the time.
Yeah.
Because when you go back or you look years later, you're like, what the fuck was I thinking? Like, why didn't I go after that? Or
yeah. But no, it's like, it's definitely, for Los Angeles, is like, it's rarely, those type of events have rarely happened there, and it's just like when it's so close to you like, I don't know, I grew up in Oklahoma with all the tornadoes, and I've gone to people's houses and see them completely wiped out.
Right.
Like, I used to live there, and so yeah, it's reminds you of like what's important, of like, your family and just you being safe. But yeah, it's really tragic.
Okay, so since you're from Oklahoma City and you kind of grew up here, we're going to go through your favorite places in Oklahoma City. If you bring somebody to Oklahoma City for the very first time who's never been here, where are you taking them?
Ooh, okay. Well, first we'll have to be where my mom sells vintage clothes at Bad Granny's Bazaar in the Plaza District.
The OG,
yes.
The one that's been there from day one.
Yes. So the Plaza District is definitely where I take someone first. Probably.
And not dangerous anymore. It's weird.
I know. I
take my kids to the Plaza and I tell them, like, dude, you don't understand. Like, when I first moved to Oklahoma City, this is where we bought drugs.
Yeah. No, there was like fighting dog fights, official dog fights, like a block over from the Plaza District in high school. And I know because like it was just terrible. But yeah, that would be one. And then maybe go out to like Pops for like, weird sodas. People like to see the giant pop.
They like the giant. Yeah, they like the giant soda pop thing.
Yeah. And then I'm trying to think what restaurants, because like immediately when I come here, it's like I want to go to Cracker Barrel, but that's not an Oklahoma thing. We did just, we wanted to go to Cafe Cacao while I was here.
Yeah.
2-hour wait.
Yep.
So I went to Jeff's, which they have a smoking section.
I love Jeff's.
Yeah.
We're gonna talk about this right now. I have a serious love of Jeff's because for the last 20 years, that basic breakfast has been like $5.99. It's the same price as it was 15 years ago. And I swear it's the only smoking section left in Oklahoma anywhere other than a casino. But it's the same clientele, the same waitresses, the same owner. If you want small town, like all the neighborhood gossip, Jeff's is where to go.
Yeah, our waitress was named Granny.
Yes.
Yeah, it was wonderful. And then I recently have gotten really into playing pool, so we went and played pool at Cock of the Walk.
Yep.
Right by Guest Room Records, and Harding Fine Arts Academy, where I went to high school, is like next door. So, yeah.
So did you go to Guest Room?
No.
I interviewed this band on Pure Noise that's from here in Oklahoma City called Ben Quad. And their record had just been released like a couple months, or their EP a couple months before. And asked them what they were going to do. And they're like, I don't know. We haven't been to Guest Room in a while. Since we're over here, we should go over there. I was like, dude, secret shopper. See if they have your record in stock. And if they don't, pressure them into carrying it. And they're like, that's a great idea. So you got to take those opportunities to pressure the sales clerk into ordering your record.
Got to do that. I'll just bring some and slip them in there, and it'll be secret.
I used to do it intimidatingly because I'm so tall and kind of dorky when I was young, going into the record store. They'd be like, get the weird guy, whatever he wants. Well, thank you very much for coming up on a Sunday last minute. It all came together kind of crazy. My friend Jonathan Ashley White, who's an artist, he lives in the town I grew up in Ardmore. And so he was up here with his daughter, and they were walking around the plaza, and he messaged me and said, I think Mothica's in Oklahoma City. Will you find out? And I said, yeah, I'll message her and I'll find out. So she was really excited that she got a glimpse of you.
Oh, well, I wish I had gotten to say hi to her. And, I was saying before here, I was like, my mom's always, taking clothes to bad grannies, selling them. And if she runs into someone who's like, looks like they could be a Mothica fan, aka they have colored hair or eyeliner of any kind, she will call me and be like, you need to come meet this person. And so like I had just gotten to meet a girl from Tulsa who drove down to see some of my clothes there and get a photo with her. Okay, so she saw your post on Instagram and of the clothes you brought and was like, I'm driving straight there. Yes, and very sweet. I wish I had brought like more cool things. It was just like, instead of me selling clothes at some random place, I just give it to my mom to sell at her booth. And so she drove out to see my stuff, which some was like from music videos and things. But so actually this probably isn't good, but if you meet my mom, you can pressure her into getting me to do things. That's the way it works. Yeah. And it's always going to be like that. Yeah, for sure. Well, thank you very much. You guys check out all things Mothica, all the streaming platforms. We play it here on the Local Talent Show as well. This has been the Jay Ramone Podcast.